educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work podcast, where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
Thank you very much for coming on the show today. I appreciate our guest today. You know, we were talking in the green room, and you're going to get part 2 of the conversation, actually. But my guest today is a seasoned digital marketing strategist and specializes in empowering business owners in innovative marketing and tailored digital strategies. With over a decade of agency experience, she understands the challenges entrepreneurs face, particularly those striving to reach 250,000 mark and beyond, which I know I'm nowhere near. I don't know if all my social media accounts even reach 1,000. Well, no, that's not true. But she focuses on providing actionable insights and guidance to help businesses surpass their goals and scale their business without overstretching resources, which I think is key. She's the go-to partner for turning big dreams into tangible realities. Thank you all for tuning in. I bring to you Jennifer. Jennifer, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Maurice. This is going to be a whole lot of fun.
So as I stated, we started a conversation off stage, in the green room. And so where we're talking about marketing and how people and or organizations don't understand what is marketing, right? And, so I think what the part that I was going to say back in the green room is that, and when it comes to marketing, sometimes people don't understand their own brand.
True.
True. And I think that's something that helps with the marketing and for them to move forward. So how important is it for someone to understand their own brand to even starting to market?
So it goes beyond just their brand, though. A lot of people don't understand their target audience, which is even more critical than your brand. So one of the things that I say often is that your brand is not what you say it is what your audience says it is. And so if you want your audience members to see you in a certain way, you have to be really consistent about who you are, what you do, who you serve, and how you speak to them. On top of that, you have to be crystal clear about your audience, like so clear about who you serve in a way that you know them almost better than they know themselves, because it's going to be the way that you can speak to them. Reality is in this world of digital everything, there's so much noise coming in, right?
Right.
And communication is assumed by most people. Most people assume communication happens. They say something, they assume the other person heard it in exactly the way they intended to hear it. And that's not realistic, because how we speak to people is how we like to be communicated with. It's kind of like the love languages. I think everybody knows and understands love languages, right? You like physical touch, you like time, those are the things that you like. So you tend to give in a way that you like to receive. Communication often is the same. But if you really know your audience really, really well, you're able to communicate in a way that they need, not the way you need to communicate with them.
So one of the things that, again, if you listen to Jennifer on other podcasts on her own, and do your research on her, she talks about dating your ideal client. But a lot of times, a lot of us are in some real weird opportunities with who are dating just as a regular individual, our regular dating life. So how will we know who our ideal client is and being able to date them, especially if all those messages are unclear and we're so consumed by what everybody else is doing? We want to live the best life. We want steak and lobster, but we can really only afford this little 21 shrimp and fried basket type thing. So how do we get to that point?
If we look at it from the perspective, so there's two things that I often talk to my clients about. Who is the person that you loved working with more than anybody else that paid you? Because that's the key. They have to be able to afford your product, service, or solution. Otherwise, you have a really expensive hobby because it's ending up coming out of your pocket, not
Right.
theirs. So who did you love working with more than anybody else? That'll help you get a start. The other thing is who is it that you think you want to work with? If you come at it from those perspectives and really drill into, let's say you're a business coach and you loved working with nonprofits, but they often don't have money.
Yes.
So who else in that similar space would have money that could hire you? So if you think about it from that perspective, maybe it's those social organizations, those organizations that have a social bent to them where they give back, right? It's a similar thing to a nonprofit, but they have revenue coming in that could actually be used to pay someone to help them.
Right.
We have to look at what it is we're selling, the price point at which we're selling it at, and mold our audience around that price point or our price point around the audience. If you love working with, I have different levels of working with me depending on where you're at in business. I love working with micro businesses. I love working with those businesses that are at like 100-ish thousand in revenue and they're looking to scale up. I also love working with those $1 million businesses, but those are very two different needs. And so I have two different ways to work with them. That's something that you get to look at in your own business. If you love working with that entrepreneur who doesn't have any money, you might want to look at doing it in a way that doesn't require a ton of your time. Maybe it's a course, or maybe it's a group coaching program where the cost for them to invest in you is low. They get a lot of value, but it doesn't take all of your time in order to facilitate it.
So there's a few things that you've said in that. One of the things that I'm taking from that is understanding the value that I have for myself. You know, so sometimes we don't understand time is value and what we offer has a value. And sometimes we downplay both. So how can we encourage, those that are out here listening, to understand their value and what they're bringing to the table in order for them to get paid, which is what you stated, to get paid what they're worth. So how can we get people to understand what their value is?
So if we think of your clients, what did they achieve by working with you? Did they save time? Did they save money? Did they make money? What is it that's what we're looking for when we talk about our value? What is it that our clients get? For me and my clients get a repeatable system to bring in consistent leads that will buy from them. That's what we work on creating for them. So they're able to scale their business. So if they come in making $100,000 and they leave making 200, 500, a million, whatever that point is, they've gotten a tremendous value, which means I provided that value and I get to charge based on the value I provided. On the opposite side of that, understand it also comes down to what they can afford to pay as well. So if you have a product, service, or solution that actually takes someone from $0 to $1 million, we'll just use that as a, but they can't afford to pay for that, you're going to need to look at it in a way, either you have to up level your audience to find the people that can afford that, or you have to look at it from a point of what can they afford and creating a product in that sphere.
So could you offer maybe an example for yourself or maybe a particular client, maybe of just how you were able to understand what your value was and what you offered and how you got to the point where you are today?
Yeah. So for me, I owned a digital marketing agency for a decade. And one of the things about agency life is I don't really care what those agencies tell you. I'm going to destroy some of their language there. They only work with certain people, right? They only work. Reality is in agency life, you don't. You may work in a niche. You may have a target audience, but you're taking on anyone that is willing to run their credit card because you have a staff to pay and you have a, business to run. I did not enjoy that at all. I really like working with the people I enjoy working with. And so I pivoted my business to consulting.
Okay.
When I did that, I stepped back and went, what is it and who is it that I like to work with? And there are two areas. Both involve my knowledge and sharing it in a way that helps people to facilitate their own growth, and also a little bit of leadership, right? So I have the consulting package for that business owner. I call them micro business owners. They're the ones that are kind of under $500,000 in revenue. I have a package for them, and I looked at it and priced it very specifically based on what they can afford at that level. I also broke it down in a way that's very specific to what it is they need in that level. And then I have the fractional CMO level, which is a chief marketing officer, which is where, again, I get to provide my knowledge and my leadership and all of that kind of stuff in an organization. But those organizations are generally at 750 revenue and up. And the types of duties that I have are very different. So the pricing is also priced for that type of skills and knowledge that they need.
Right.
They're very different audiences and very different business models. And they were the people that I loved working with. So I just created two.
So there's a term that you used, and you hear more frequently right now, which is fractional, right?
Yeah.
And could you explain to the people out there, what does that mean?
So yeah, fractional really is a part-time person that works in your business. So a lot of business owners in the small business category can't necessarily afford to hire a full-time marketing department. They can't afford to hire a full-time chief marketing officer or CFO or COO or go on and and all of the fractional things.
Right.
It's often why they end up hiring agencies. A fractional level person is someone who has the skills, experience, and knowledge in their area of expertise, as well as the leadership that can come in from a strategic level, look at your business, and move in the ways that are going to help your business grow to that next level without you having to invest in a full-time, long-term employee. They can be project-based, meaning I work with them for 2 or 3 months for a specific thing that they're doing. They can be long-term retainers where we're working for a year or more together, again, on specific goals and key performance indicators to help move their business forward. It really is the best of both worlds. You get the knowledge and expertise that you need without having to hire somebody full-time for it.
So I asked that question. I know it kind of threw everything else off, right? The direction we were going in. But because we're starting to hear that term a lot, and because of where the country is right now, you're not sure what positions are going to be open. Like you said, what agencies, what opportunities are provided. And as we're talking about marketing and understanding brands and who our avatar is that we're trying to sell to, as that fractional person, sometimes we're not in that space long enough to know how to move a company forward. But it can also give us more experiences, different types of people, bringing other people together, those type of things. I think those are, great opportunities. But as we start to learn who we are and who that avatar is, because a lot of times we want to sell or we want to answer a question, or a problem, right?
Right. And that is our goal. Yeah.
And sometimes even with that could be a little cloudy.
It is. It can be very nebulous. I provide something to people called the marketing intensive, where we deep dive into your business and really dive in there and pull out all of those pieces. 90% of the time, the biggest thing that people struggle with is their messaging. is coming up with a message that's going to connect with their audience in a way that they can hear, the way that they can feel and really see and understand, so that it draws them into who you are. There's opportunities within that. There's all kinds of opportunities when it comes to an overall business strategy, when it comes to marketing your business. And I will say we start there almost always.
So what are the things that we should look out for, or things we should avoid as we're trying to market? Again, we get sucked into the social media hype, and what our
social media is it's great. It's a fantastic platform to connect on, right? The thing I want people to avoid is using Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or any other social media platform as the sole way you communicate with your audience. Because I will tell you right now, I don't know, in March, most of you are probably aware, when you went to log into Facebook or Instagram, it was down for a couple hours. A couple of years ago, it was down for almost a whole day. And at that time, I actually had a client in launch. They were launching a product.
Wow.
Thankfully, because we had moved their audience off of social media and onto their email list, they were able to continue with the launch because they just communicated with them there. If social media is the only way for you to communicate with your audience, you are beholden to social media. Which means if you make a mistake by saying something they don't like, or if you post a meme, because I've seen that happen, or if your account gets hacked. I've had clients where that's happened and they've lost their entire account. I actually had a previous client. We're still connected on social media kind of thing. She left, I think right after COVID-ish. So 2021. So we weren't still clients, but she actually shut down her business because she lost her entire social media platform.
Wow.
Because her account got hacked. So she had no access to run ads, which was how she was getting her leads. So she had, so there are a lot of things that can, and there were a lot of other reasons. I won't say that that's the sole reason, but that was definitely the tipping point for her was, oh my God, I guess this is like the universe's way to say it's time to do something different kind of thing. But if that becomes, like, if you're so reliant on social media that becomes an option for you, that's a problem.
So how do you feel about traditional marketing? Billboards, transportation stands, or anything like that? Or even newspapers. What do you think about those?
Yeah. Well, I think newspapers are pretty much dead. So my personal opinion, I don't really think people read newspapers. That being said, traditional marketing all depends on what it is you're selling, right? If you're selling, let's say, coaching, I wouldn't suggest putting up a billboard. I seriously doubt you're going to get any buyers driving by your billboard and says, "Ooh, yes, I need coaching." I don't think that's going to happen. But if you're selling painting for a house, absolutely put that to traditional marketing in that respect. It just depends on what it is you're doing. I don't think there's a traditional marketing can be a layer of your marketing. I wouldn't necessarily say to count on any one thing. Marketing should be a multi-layer process. Like there should be a bunch of things that you're doing.
So how would you suggest for someone to use marketing to scale their business? What things should we be doing or looking into? Could we hear some of the pitfalls? So what should we be doing to scale our business?
The biggest thing is you're growing your audience and you're moving them off of social media onto your email list in some way, shape, or form. Your email list is the one thing that you can control. You control when, how, and what you say, and you don't have to filter yourself in any way, shape, or form. That I think is an essential piece. The other thing, so there's really only 3 steps that matter in marketing: visibility, lead generation, and sales. That's it. Those are the 3 things that matter. So getting yourself out there, visible, whether it's on podcasts, having your own guesting, if that works within your business model, posting on social media. Again, it's about drawing them off of social media. Even if you're selling, I had a client once that was selling olive oil. And, we were talking about, I'm like, we moved them onto your email list, right? In some way, shape, or form, because it was a new business, like they were launching. And so we put them on wait lists so that they knew when the new things were coming out, but we got them off of social media. That is incredibly important. So your email list becomes this gold mine, this database for you to nurture and grow.
So I'm going to reference this before I let you go. I was listening to another show and you were talking about how important it is to create a funnel, right?
Yes.
And so can you just touch on that real quick? And then
absolutely.
In that answer, can you explain to them what it is, how it works, and where they can reach out to you, where you can help them, create their funnel?
Absolutely. Every business has a funnel. I don't care what type of business you are. I know funnels have gotten a really bad name, but even Walmart has a funnel. A funnel is simply a way to bring your clients into your world through a customer journey that helps them become buyers. In the simplest of terms, that's what it is. There are a lot of different tactics and processes you can use, but in a simple format, that's what it is. It is essential that you have one. Like I said, Walmart, Amazon, all of them have them. Generally, they start with an ad. If you walk into Walmart's store is set up as a funnel. It is designed to funnel you through to specific products that they want you to buy. So everywhere you go, there's a funnel. It's just a matter of looking at it from a perspective of my ideal clients learn who I am. They step into my world, and then I get to sell them my product, service, or solution. And if you're struggling with marketing and you're trying to figure out what to do first next, I do have Marketing Matchmaker as my podcast. It's a fantastic way to learn without any expectations of anything. If you are ready to take that next step and you need a partner to do it with, you can head over to virtualmarketingexpert.com and sign up for a free strategy session. I'm always happy to discuss what it is you're doing now and how we can help.
Jennifer, I thank you very much for coming on the show. I appreciate it for all the nuggets, all the information you've provided. It's been great.
Thanks. I appreciate you having me.
So here's the thing. Before I let you go, I got to ask the question. I forewarned you before the show, right? Everyone knows what's coming up. My would you rather question. So would you rather choose 3 doors or a fork in the road?
I think I'd rather choose 3 doors.
And why 3 doors?
There are more options.
Okay.
I have more opportunities.
Okay.
And there's also some surprises along the way.
Okay. I recently it's been a give or take. For the longest time, a lot of people were looking at the fork in the road. They want to look at the ground. They want to peek down the road. Most recently, people have been asking about the doors and are the doors glass and can I open up all 3? All those type of things. So I've had people that said very analytical or scientific. What's the odds of this and that? I'm like, I don't have no parameters. I'm just asking a question.
I get it. I mean, it actually, when you asked me the question before the show started, I was like, oh, that's a really good question because I actually had to think about it.
You did? That's cool. Jennifer, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
No problem. And thank you for listening to That Will Never Work podcast.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at Chisholm Group LLC and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work, or will it?